My name is Ben Gran. I am originally from Finland, but I've lived around the world, predominantly in Australia for 14 years, and also in Singapore and Hong Kong. I have a background in public health and pedagogy, as well as sports and sports coaching. And currently, I'm a nursing student studying in Metropolia in Helsinki. There, I'm really enjoying my time learning more about healthcare and individual health for people. For me, healthcare has always been something's always drawn me into serving people. As I said, I have a background in education, and that's something that you do for people, and I always had a deeper interest in health and disease. So I only thought the next step into that would be getting into nursing. So my idea is to create a mobile kidney dialysis unit that would be operating in Lapland as a bus that would have 2 or 3 dialysis machines in a bus that provide dialysis treatment for people living in rural areas, as well as for tourists that are visiting the area. So basically, along with the tourist side of the business, I'm also looking to provide the service for people living in rural areas in Finland. They need to travel often 1 hour, 2 hours to the clinic to get their treatment, and the treatment they're getting 3 times per week, lasting 4 hours each. And then you think about the travel time, which could take 1 hour, 2 hours there and back. So if we build a bus for the locals that have difficult access to these facilities, meet somewhere halfway or come to their town where they can get the service, it's saving many, many hours a week for them, increasing their quality of life and giving them more freedom to live their lives. After there would be success in that, we would hope to build individual vans working in metropolitan areas around Finland that provide the dialysis care for people that are staying in hotels and resorts. The idea of mobile healthcare isn't a new one. There's a lot of national sort of health organizations, kidney foundations around the world that have developed buses that provide services for people living in rural areas, but none of them have actually sort of targeted towards the sort of tourism industry where the service comes to the front of the hotel or the resort, wherever the person is staying. It's very community based, and it's not really targeted towards tourists. Kidney disease is becoming a bigger problem around the world. It's growing by approximately 5% per year, and more people in the world are requiring dialysis treatment, but only 10% of the people in the world that have kidney disease are getting the required amount. These people have the capacity to travel, and it's affecting people of all ages. So there's definitely, and it's also taking up a lot of their time. So the required treatment time is approximately 12 hours to 16 hours per week. So I was thinking that when people come visit Finland, if we can take all the hassle in between the treatments, traveling to the hospital, finding the correct buses to get to there, dealing with language barriers, all these sort of things, if we can eliminate all of that and bring the machine to the patient, they can spend more of their time enjoying their holiday and their lives when they're visiting Finland or living in Finland. So I was first introduced to MEGE when I was doing a acceleration program called Cambridge Venture Camp. And through that, I met one of the employees of MEGE, and we had been discussing a lot about my idea because he also has a background in health startups in Finland. So he was very interested in talking about it and giving me a lot of tips and stuff like that. And through that, then I was invited to a mentor program, and that's where I met a lot of different mentors that come from Helsinki that have a really deep understanding in the entrepreneurial scene, startup scene, and all had different knowledge in different areas in business and healthcare and startups and that sort of thing. And it's been really, really good. So from the beginning, it started off as a school assignment. And our teacher basically gave us like a carrot, and that was the Cambridge Venture Camp thing. So basically, his assignment was the application that you would need to get into this program. And I remember I just looked at him and I said, I'm gonna get into this course, because there was a competition to get into this course. And he just looked at me back and said, all right, well, good luck. And I did the assignment, and then I sent my business plan, is very basic business plan, to the Cambridge Venture Camp thing. And I thankfully got in, and through that I basically got to know the startup scene in Finland, especially in Helsinki. And then we also got to go to Cambridge and learn about the Cambridge culture, startup scene culture in Cambridge, and worked and met a lot of people that we can potentially have a collaboration with in the future. So I sat through a few MEGE lectures, and I've been in contact with a lot of people in MEGE to develop the idea. And I'm also interested to continue the relationship and continue being in contact with MEGE, because they have really a lot to offer for people, especially in the early stages of startup, to really build that foundation, get the connections, know how whatever industry you're in, really know how the market works, and who to get connected to, and where you can go to get help and that sort of thing. So really the basic things to build a strong foundation. My next steps is definitely to find an expert within the field that can help me undergo some more intensive market research. And also, I'm currently looking for a team. I'm looking for someone who could be a medical advisor. I'm looking for another person who's an IT expert that would be working with all the information technology side of getting this sort of business up and running, as well as an operative individual who's business savvy and has a good knowledge in within the tourism industry, because my business is very targeted within the tourism industry. My end vision is definitely to expand on to a global scale, especially working in many tourist destinations around Europe. But the long-term goal would definitely be to start a side charity with this business that provides dialysis machines to countries that don't have the facilities to provide the service for their people. Develop a charity that provides dialysis machines to clinics and hospitals around the world where they're having difficulty in providing this service. It's definitely something that I would be aiming for in the future, just to narrow that gap. If I can change it by 1 or 2%, I think that's really good. Yeah. Well, I'm not really up to that stage yet.
Okay.
But I guess, in the future, with regard to funding, I'm probably interested in getting contact with pharmaceutical companies, dialysis machine providers and equipment providers, and banks, anyone that could probably sponsor the first product to build that first bus in Lapland. I'm looking for some big companies that can help get that up and running. At the moment, I'm just going to a lot of startup events, meeting people. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just really getting started with it. So going to startup events, trying to meet people, trying to find people in LinkedIn that could possibly be interested in this. But definitely the next 6 months for me are going to be very intensive in this area. So I'm about to really start getting into it.